because here we go. We're on a roll.
Modern medication did not work for me. Modern medication did not work for me. Modern medication did not work for me. Modern medication.
Hello, and welcome to Mercy TV Live, your source for news and information on the medical cannabis issue as it unfolds here in Oregon, across America, and around the world. Greetings, my name is Perry, and along with Sunny, we'll be hosting this segment of Mercy TV Live. And we've got a bunch of stuff to talk about tonight.
You know, Perry, there is so much. Everybody should know that the legislation that is going on in our state right now is very, very active over all of the cannabis issues. And if you're a patient, you should really want to be informed. You know, Perry, these are things that really affect the patients directly in every way.
Oh yeah, these are bills that's talking about primarily being able to ban dispensaries in cities or even a whole county at the whim of the commissioners or councilors of the city. And we're also talking about messing with the limits and the number of patients that can be, a number of plants that can be at a garden area for the multi-garden grows, you know, and the numbers that they're talking about are totally out of scope in reality where medical cannabis is concerned. There's a lot of reefer madness going on.
Well, and we've seen this before, and we're seeing it again, and these are the things that all along on this show we've talked about is one of the reasons why we really need to pay attention and keep our cards. All the patients, people out there have been patients because cannabis works. And if you didn't know that cannabis works, like, you know, there's people out there in the hospital that might be watching the show tonight, and, you know, if your doctor hasn't talked to you, if your nurses haven't talked to you, maybe your parent, you know, your family. There's so much cannabis does for people that nobody knows about, and the people in the hospital are the ones that need it the most.
All right. So, you know, ask about, because that's mostly how folks find out about it, is from someone else who's had experience, you know, either with going through all the things and coming to it or just trying it right out, you know.
Well, and not to get off track on this legislative track, because the very most important thing is that all the people have access to the medicine.
Yeah.
You know, medicine for patients is being classified as one thing, and recreational medicine or how, you know, is for another. And we understand this, and we want everybody to be able to have access, you know. But patients still should be patients.
Well, that's a big part of the legislation that's being worked on, that we're on the alert and trying to get people active and about. And it's, you know, hitting the medical cannabis community. And it's coming about because the people driving it don't believe that cannabis is medicine, that it's safe, effective medicine, and that, as Sonny was saying, the folks should have access to it. Instead, we're getting all this reefer madness mentality being applied, and folks are wanting to see all kinds of restrictions and limitations on the amount of cannabis that's being produced, and they want seed to sale tracking. But when you're working with cooperatives that are giving the medicine out and stuff, you know, that's an unnecessary burden. There's no funding to support the systems that people need to put in place to do this thing. It's just crippling for the medical cannabis community that's here in Oregon. So that's why folks need to be, you know, getting with the program and helping it out that way, but also contact your legislators and make sure that they, when these bills come to the floor for a vote, that your representatives are voting the way you want them to, the way you voted Measure 91, and that's the big concern that folks have with these bills that are trying to change the medical marijuana program, is that Measure 91 had said explicitly in there that it was not to mess with the medical marijuana program here in Oregon. But that's just exactly what we're having happen.
And they're
there.
seeing all the changes. And these are the things that are going on today. And I don't see any way around the changes, Perry.
Well, yeah, there is. There's contacting your legislators and tell them to vote no on this thing. If it gets out, if the committee won't vote no on it, then tell them to vote no. And next time around, we're going to try to get the good stuff, like getting the fee reduced, getting conditions added, getting the 12-inch rule changed. But first, we're going to have to, I don't know, certainly in next election cycle, de-elect, get rid of these legislators who are putting forth these bills. Because another thing that you mentioned is these legislators don't see cannabis as medicine, in that for them, everybody's recreational. It's all recreational. These guys were just stoners just getting over, And we're so much about in the medical cannabis community is not about getting high. In fact, we got folks that are like, anything we can do to avoid that, but still getting the benefits of it. And
we have so many people that are tired of all of the fight of that, and they just want to have some relief for their quality of life. And if they can use some cannabis and do it, Perry, they want to do that. And to allow themselves to get away from all of those fights, well, because that's what they see it as, is a bunch of fights. And if they allow themselves, they don't have to fight, because they can be legal, recreational.
Well, it's good for folks. They can go get the cannabis, from the recreational resources, and people can use it medically. That's beautiful. All those folks that have these conditions that are part of it, and and that's something we should tell them about. When we're talking about getting your card, some folks will have, if you have somebody, if you know somebody that has cancer-related issues, if they have, the pain from the cancer itself, nausea from the treatments and therapies, look at cannabis, medical cannabis, for help there. An important note is folks that have bipolar. Not one of the qualifying conditions, but the nausea from your pills are.
There are so many of these things that nobody's talking about that we in the cannabis community can help each other with. And if people would just allow that, cannabis is medicine and it can help you. And if you look into some of these things, you'll find out that really, man, cannabis might be able to help me. And that's what I'm saying, by doing the information and the education that we're doing on this TV show, and that Perry has on all those websites, and these are the things where people can go to and get the information that they need.
Right.
The website's a very good place that they can find that information.
Oh, it's a key resource, and you're going to find things there like how to utilize your cannabis so that you don't get high. So what are the best strains, what are the best preparations, how the best applications, and so forth. It's a whole different mindset and philosophy there. So that's why it's important to educate the legislators. It's important to educate you folks out there, and for you to talk to everybody about how cannabis is medicine, it's safe, effective medicine, and people should have access to it, even if you yourself or someone you care about can't use it now. In the immediate future, down the road it's going to happen, and mostly like the citizens who voted in the medical cannabis program, like citizens who voted in legalization,
Right.
Measure 91, we don't want to spend the money on arresting, on this war, on this, this beneficial plan.
It's ridiculous. We know that people can be helped by it, and the thing that we know also is that people's lives the quality of their life can be helped so much. Perry brought up the cancer patients. What a beautiful thing that those people can be helped. And up till now, nobody even allowed them that opportunity. And you know what? We can help them with some cookies or some tinctures.
Right.
And you know, it's very easy to do these things. And these are the kinds of things that people can make in their own kitchens, at home.
Right.
Or, you know what, we've always went over to others' kitchens and made them at their kitchens too. And, you know,
Gentlemen, we have a caller that has a question about dispensaries in July. If there's a phone book where there's going to be a listing, or if she'd be able to find that in a local newspaper somewhere, how would she get the listing for dispensaries? It's Terry from Salem is on the line.
Okay, well, the main thing would be to stay in touch with the Mercy website at mercycenters.org. We'll certainly post the information there as soon as it's available. It will probably be listed through the Oregon Liquor Control Commission, the entity that's going to be in charge of registering them and all the other fun things that's going to go around with that. So they'll have a web page set up that will, I'm guessing, have the information on it. Similar to what they're doing with the medical cannabis facilities, there's a web page on the Oregon Health Authority website with that information. So I imagine they'll do the same kind of thing with the OLCC.
well, and these things are also, you know, they're just breaking into it. You know, that's what they're looking into. What do they need to do to fulfill their job?
The OLCC has got a number of. Oh, okay. Well, thanks for calling. There's another of entities and groups and people that are working around here. At one level, you've got the OLCC, a group that once said they didn't want to have legalization because they didn't want.
Maybe a caller.
Oh, hello, caller. Go ahead.
Yes, I have a question about medical cannabis
Sure.
and Measure 91.
Uh-huh.
And does that make it legal for everyone in Oregon?
Yeah, all adults. So anyone, all folks over 21.
And when does that take effect?
July 1st is when it officially goes into effect. As far as the setting up and opening of, I don't know what they would call them, pot shops, recreational dispensaries, they're still working on the rules in the legislature for that.
Yes, I was reading about certain bills, Senate Bill 844 to reform and regulate medical marijuana.
Yes.
Do you know anything about that?
Well, 844 is currently on its 28th amendment, so they've had 28 versions of it come out that they're batting around. And it seems like the big issue with that one is local cities and counties want to ban these recreational shops and these, as well as medical cannabis facilities in their areas, and they're trying to get that attached to the bill and get it through with that. So that's one thing I can tell you about 844, that you want to get as much information as you can. Go online is the best thing. There's ways to watch the hearings on, catch the video on it as well, as read the latest amendments to it and see what versions they have.
Perfect. Yes, I was just trying to get a little more information on that. I
Okay.
appreciate that.
But as of July 1st, adults will not only be able to possess, but be able to plant your own gardens there and grow your own.
And they're working on that in the Joint Committee?
Well, actually, that's part of the OMA that's going to be, or the Measure 91 that's going to go into effect July 1st. The shops and the growing for the shops may be a little bit later on. but an individual may be able to possess and grow their own as of July 1st.
Okay, and is there a place that I can look that up
Yeah, mercycenters.org is a good starting point, and we'll have links there to put you to the bills that are in play and the rules that are coming out above them. And there's a committee that's being formed that's going to work with the OLCC as far as the establishing the long-term rules for the growers and who are providing for the shops.
And that's mercycenters.org?
Yeah, mercycentersplural.org.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you so much.
check our screen. Well, thank you for calling, and do give us a call the phone number that's on the website if you have any more questions, or send us an email. Sounds like a good one too.
Yeah. Well, and you know, like you were talking about, they are changing so much of that, and the real power they're trying to give the counties, they're not trying to give the counties, because the counties are trying to get that power.
Right. The counties have, there's an organization that purports to represent the counties. It's the Association of Oregon Industries. And they've got a lobbyist who's going around trying to get this to happen mainly. That's the main brunt of it. It's not representative of the will of the people. And I believe that the latest version of 844 and a companion one, 964, is to give these entities absolute power. So there's some discussion going on about how they should put it out as a referendum. They should have, the citizens voted in if it's wanted, but the opposition is saying that the citizens who don't want it to happen need to do an initiative process and get it on the ballot and everything else, just like Measure 91. So they need to do a Measure 91 all over again.
And they said, one of the legislators brought up, you know what, they've already voted, they've already put this to the vote, and I don't think we're going to need no more votes.
Yeah.
So we do have some good,
That's an interesting thing, that if the city council wants to do it, they have to put it out to the people, and it has to be voted in. They can't just do it. So that's an interesting thing, way of it. Although, it does seem unnecessary, particularly for the reasons that they're doing it, There was a lot of discussion about the leakage, how much cannabis, and here's another thing they're talking about. There's no, medical marijuana as a farce, a joke. It's most of the marijuana being grown for medical purposes is supposedly being leaving the state. It's being shipped out to elsewhere. Huge 70%, almost all of it. It's like,
And they have no numbers. They have no proof on this. This is what they have somebody telling them for some other reason that has nothing to do with.
It's misinformation. It's usually law enforcement who, getting some case. They said, here's this one happened. If you extrapolate that out, that means that this much must be going out.
So it's ridiculous.
Voodoo
it's
numbers,
It's not true.
So, we got to get out of this mindset. We got to, quit allowing ourselves to be, quote, led by people with this.
Well, they were
kind of
saying
mentality.
they're going to allow patients to sell their medicine to the state at these dispensaries and be able to make some cash. Well, all the patients I talk to don't have any extra medicine to sell to the dispensaries for cash. But then a couple of the ones did that are like in Eastern Oregon that have big gardens that, well, then a couple others do have bigger, and it's back to where they're doing their gardens and what they're doing in their gardens, and who's doing their gardens.
So there's kind of a difference there. A outdoor garden can grow larger plants, bigger volume there, more medicine. I think there's a trade-off, though, with the folks that are able to control the environment, make sure it's seedless, all kinds of other factors there.
Well, and back to, they're going to be having all these reports, and they'll be coming doing their inspections and doing the reports, and they will have a good idea about how much medicine that all these patients are using, because they'll how much medicine you're giving to your patient every month, and
Well, the processes that they're, again, what is their purpose behind it? They want to prove, something that isn't happening. And if it was about, let's really, document this for the sake of research. Let's know what kind of medicine we're getting out of it. How well does it work with people in the various conditions and methods that they're trying to apply it, and by condition, and learn and grow and say, okay, we want to prepare this a little bit different here. We want to mix this strain and do that there. But these guys just want to control this so they can get part of the process of more bureaucracy.
well, and that's what it seems to be, to make it more difficult. I mean, the people that are doing this, the patients and the growers both, already not. It's not like they're having that good of a time doing it.
No, there's not for the majority of the folks who are doing cannabis. They're small growers. They have a little circle of acquaintances that they help out with medicine and stuff, or if they're not quite a patient, they're just a recreational user. Still, it's a little bit of funding that's helping the person to keep that garden going. There's not a lot of money, certainly not extra. And so, trying to tax these people or put them in the category of black marketeers that are,
Right.
Got some 1,000-plant garden out there in the forest, the U.S. park.
Well, and that's what really wrong to hear them talking about patients' medicine all going to out of state. I mean, that was just so ridiculous, because they already had so much percentage of whatever was going out of state anyway. Well, whatever little bitty percentage of patient medicine you want to add to that, to make up that, sure, but don't make that number all of the patients in the state of Oregon. That
Right.
don't work. You
Right.
know? I mean,
It's reefer madness. It's by a group who wants to maintain control, maintain the lies, maintain these expensive programs to watch all these people who aren't a threat to anybody. They have a situation where they have somebody who, again, in an outdoor situation, had a huge plant. It looked like it had, veritable bales growing off this thing here. My God, there must be 100 pounds to that plant. And extrapolated, wow, some of these guys got hundreds of plants. They must all be like this, and
but they don't realize it's usable medicine. By the time they get done, there is not much usable medicine. Most of it went for like oils and butters and stuff, which you don't get a lot of stuff out of, and it takes a lot of work to do that. And then the stuff that is left is like, it just depends on who it is and what they're doing with it and how
Right.
much stuff you got, Perry.
Yeah.
It's back to all of that and who's doing it. And
But the thing about the medical cannabis community, and that's something unique about Oregon, we should let people know about that, it's critical, is the ability to network. A lot of folks are able to hand, stuff off to each other.
Yep.
One person's cast off is another person's product, resource. You got folks that take their garden, they get it trimmed. Well, that trimmed stuff can be used for making all kinds of medical cannabis items there. And then you process it more after that. You end up with the buds of it, and then you've got the leftover from that. And again, that can go to a certain process and so forth.
well, and the more you do with those kinds of things, the more different products you get. And that's what we're trying to do, is by doing all these things, is show everybody you can do it. You can do it as a patient yourself with a little help with these plants that we're able to do ourselves. We don't need to be into business.
No,
We
yeah,
can
it
do
doesn't have to be
ourselves.
for profit all the way, but that's only if we're able to
I
keep the
believe Connie's on the phone, gentlemen.
Excellent. Go ahead, Lee.
Hello,
Oh, Connie, how you doing tonight, Connie?
Sammy. Pretty good.
Well, it's good to hear from you. And
What you doing?
I'm glad that you're calling, because we sure appreciate the time you've put in and trying to help Mercy and put out there to let people come over and hang out, and it's very nice that you got a new place.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Well, I thought I would call you.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And Perry, she found a very good place, and they're cannabis friendly, and that's what we try to do, is make sure that everybody can find a cannabis friendly place.
Yeah.
That's so nice.
Yeah, I'm glad that worked out, but also that we're able to, share the wealth there. That you're able to have folks there to network. That's really super.
Yeah.
Well, and we sure appreciate you, Connie.
Okay, I appreciate you too.
All right.
Okay.
Well, we'll talk with you soon, okay?
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Thanks
Bye
for
now.
calling.
Thanks for
You
calling.
know, Perry, that is so cool, because Connie is another good example of somebody who eats some cookies, and, she eats a few cookies, and it does her so good. And,
Right.
these are the kinds of things that we're trying to teach people. And, if you or somebody needs some help, please give us a call.
Right on. In Connie's case, she suffers from spasms, among other things, and there's another example of the spasticity and how you can use the cannabis for it. You can help to sleep at night with cookies. You can help to get about during the day, have a quality of life, applying it topically. You won't get high, you won't test positive in those cases. Folks going through seizures, all the aspects of that. Again, we talk about the medicines that you have to take sometimes that makes folks nauseous. That's a qualifying condition, as well as the seizures and all.
And
So-
we couldn't do it with all of our help here at the station. So thank you very much to all of our volunteers. Thank you so much. We just couldn't do it without them.
Yeah, it's big kudos to our crew, Lance, PK, also out there getting videos that we're posting on our YouTube. So if you folks miss us here, you can always catch us on the tube, YouTube that is, and you can get there via our website, mercycenters.org. Big thanks to CCTV, who's having us here all these years, helping us to get the word out and help you folks in the process. So.
Well, it's so important because everybody's losing the deal. The real deal is the cannabis is medicine.
Yep.
And we'll be here next Friday. Give us a call, because we really want to help some people. If you need the help or you have some questions, it's very important. Perry.
Oh, or you got help. I mean, if you've got a resource, if you're a grower who has room for a patient.
Oh yeah, there's lots of patients that need help, you guys. Lots of patients. So if you know somebody that you could get to some help, please let us know.
If you have a place that will allow folks to meet and gather and exchange resources, that'd be super. We'd love that, That'd be a big benefit to the community.
Well, because that's what they need to do, is just get together.
Right on. But mostly stay in touch. So we'll see you next time here on Mercy TV Live. Sonny,
All right.
thank you.
Thank you, Perry. And you know what? Thanks to all those people out there that watch and call us and get with us. We sure
Absolutely.
appreciate it. Thank you.
We'll see you next time.
You want to say anything before I turn it off, Glenn?
Yes, good night.
Good night. God bless you all, every single one of you.